Welcome back to Lesbiana's podcast. This is your host, Kaelee. Today I have a very special guest known as the Lesbian Perez Hilton of TikTok. Over 500,000 subscribers and more than 42 million likes on TikTok. That's literally insane. I would love to welcome Kaelee Overfield.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes to me. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're just gonna dive into like your personal life, kind of get into that, so the listeners can like learn more about you, and then we'll get into like the juiciness. Okay. All right. So first of all, you are on a lesbian podcast, so that obviously means that you're either a part of the community or you're an ally. But you are a lesbian, correct?
Yes, I would say that I probably use the word gay more often just because I think it rolls off the tongue a little cuter, but I definitely identify as a lesbian.
Gotcha.
When you nail it down.
Okay. So when did you know that you were gay? And when did you... I know that's such a hard question sometimes, but yeah, when did you know you were gay? When was your like aha moment? And like, when did you come out?
Okay, so I played basketball growing up, which I feel like is a gay awakening for a lot of girls. But I also went to like private school, like religious school. So my school side of things had like people who are obviously gay now, but like my graduating class, not a single gay person to be seen, versus when I was like in 8th, 9th grade joining club basketball teams with all of these girls who went to public school. I was like, oh my God, like
totally
this out here.
Yeah.
And so definitely I would say in high school, and I did have a friend in high school who like everyone would start accusing us of dating, and we weren't, but like, it was one of those relationships. I'm like, no, they were right to accuse.
I've had that before.
But like, we weren't.
Yeah, totally. No, I get it.
But she also played club basketball, like a different team. So I think like she got that atmosphere. I did as well. And so I think that's when I definitely started considering it. Like in early high school, I watched like Orange is the New Black. I was like, oh my God, I am gay.
You're like, I love what I am seeing.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I do hate men. They're right about me.
No, I get that.
Yeah, and I dated guys. Like, I never had a serious relationship with a guy, but like in high school, like, I would try a lot of them out just to see how it would go.
You gotta test it out.
2-3 weeks, I'm like, oh, I do not like him. I don't like him at all. So then I went to college and I was like gonna jump right into it, and I like kind of did, but then I like would go back and start dating guys a little bit. I would be like, oh my God, I love this man just because he had a girlfriend, and then they would break up. I'm like, don't like him anymore. And then I definitely like sophomore year was like publicly out in college. I was like, I'm over men. Men no longer need to come into my house. I actually was dating this chick like from my hometown, and she was going up to where I went to college in Memphis because her brother was like graduating Arkansas. So she was coming to visit. I was like, I guess I have to tell everybody, like I have no choice now. I have to just be like, this girl's coming. I had no other way to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I might be kissing this girl, so it's like maybe I have to explain it a little deeper.
Yeah, and she was like, she'd been out for like forever.
Yeah.
So I always kind of felt bad when we were like hanging around my family. I was like, don't say nothing. And I'm like, I'm not going to make her be like that in front of my college friends. Like, they're going to be okay. And they were okay. And half of them are gay now too. So I think I started the trend.
Yeah, you're like, I started this. So that is when that's when you told your parents about it, because you were having this girl come down?
Well, that one was actually her going to college. I ended up telling my parents, well, just my mom, I won't talk to dad. When my girlfriend my now girlfriend, was like sleeping over, and I had like a bunk bed situation, and my mom just like busted her ass in, because I was like staying in the guest room, and my mom just like busted through the door, and like my girlfriend was in the bed that she knows I sleep in. So I'm in the bathroom like brushing my teeth, my mom busts in, she's like, why is Olivia in your bed? I was like, too late to say we're watching a movie. I was like, do you have something you want to ask me? She's like, do you have something you want to tell me? I'm like, I want you to ask first. We went back and forth. And then like, she was never like weird about it. I knew she'd always be cool about it. I mean,
Yeah.
What is she gonna say? She loves me. But definitely for a while, she probably would still say this. She's like, "You're lucky I like Olivia, because now it's okay." I'm like, Mom, you would be okay either way, but okay.
You're like, Mom, you would have had to just deal with it anyways.
Yeah, and I'm like, so you think you would not like if I dated somebody else? Like, so I only can pick out one good person? Like, what is this?
So it's Olivia forever is what it sounds like.
Yeah, according to my mom, I can't do anything else.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, no, I was the same. My mom was kind of the same way whenever I came out. Like, she was very accepting, but I don't know. I feel like everyone has a different, like, coming out story and the way that their family reacts to things, and I am so thankful that my family was, like, on board. And it's like, I don't blame parents that, you know, it takes them a little bit to understand it, because their little kid, like their little girl, always grew up dating boys, and it's like, you know, this norm, and it's an adjustment for parents sometimes. But luckily they adjusted well and quick, because I was like, y'all are gonna have to get on this, and that's that.
Yeah,
So
I was like, there's no choice.
yeah, I didn't really give them an option. I'm like, you have to accept it. Okay, so are you based in Tampa right now?
Yes, I grew up here.
Okay,
Went to Memphis for college. I'm back here.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Have you always lived in Tampa?
Yeah. So besides like the 4 years I was in college, I also like studied abroad, if that counts. I was in Ireland for a little bit.
Fancy.
And then I actually went to law school here. There's a law school over in like St. Pete area called Stetson, and my mom actually went there, you know, years back. I knew I wanted to come back to Florida because I was like, it's cold everywhere else. Like, everywhere else it is cold, and I'm not okay with the cold.
Totally.
So I was like, I'm coming back. I applied to Stetson first, and then if I didn't get in, I was gonna do the other Florida schools. But I got in. I'm like, I'm coming back.
You're like, I'm coming back.
In St. Pete. Yeah, I lived in St. Pete for a year.
That's awesome.
And now I'm back in Tampa, even though I work in St. Pete, but it's like right next door.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So that was one of the questions. We'll dive into that in a second, because I want to dive into like your law degree and all that stuff. That's awesome. But that's like so cool. I feel like you're like the everything girl. Like, you just do everything. But first, so obviously being gay in Florida, you know, like, I don't know how to word this. So how do you like living in Florida as like a gay woman? Because, I mean, the reason I ask is because obviously Florida has such a big gay population. Like, it's awesome. But the governor, you know, his views are extremely conservative, and the laws that are being passed are pretty insane. And this is my view. I'm not saying this is your view. I'm just asking you. But the laws that are being passed are crazy, especially against like the LGBTQ community and just women in general. So how do you like navigate that while living in Florida? Like, are you kind of like just like used to it, or like what?
Yeah, I definitely feel like Florida, because it's such like a melting pot of a place that, you know, I feel like we've always been, as a state, like notoriously kind of giving like maybe the redneck side of Florida, even though, I mean, I live in the city. Yeah. Tampa's like very progressive.
Yeah.
Like some other projects I'm working on too is like our, you know, prosecutor here is one of the ones that Ron DeSantis like stripped from his job and was like, you're not following the law. So like I feel like Tampa in and of itself, much like Orlando, like a little less so Miami, are kind of rising up against Ron DeSantis. So, you know, we kind of, I think, have a very different culture than maybe other parts of Florida. But I think if you go to any big city, you're going to see something similar. And I would say that, like, you know, on a day-to-day basis, I don't feel like I'm surrounded by a bunch of gay people.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm not. Like, we definitely have the events for it. And, like, when we go to Pride, it's, like, gay people everywhere. Like, it's definitely not straight people just because there's a bunch of gay people everywhere. And I would say it's not... I usually go around and see lesbians while I'm walking around.
Yeah.
But then we don't have like a, you know, like a lesbian spot you could go on the weekly.
Oh, you don't?
So, no, not really. Like, there's obviously places where you would expect to see more gay people. Like, I know there's certain bars, but there isn't like a gay or, I mean, I don't know if there's a gay bar. I don't know what the men are doing. I think there is this one gay bar, but it's a lot of older men. especially for younger people. I don't know if we necessarily have a spot that I like expect to see more gay women. Like, I don't know where gay women hang out.
You're like,
I
please.
live here. Like, I know where me and my friends hang out, and sometimes we see other gay people, but not like a joining situation. Like, I have a friend, Kara, who's like single, and we've been trying to find her a girl, but I'm like, we don't really meet other gays.
Totally.
Unless it's, like, randomly gay couples. I don't know, you know?
Or like on social media.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly,
and then there's like a handful of gay people at work, and it's funny because it's like sometimes like a lot of older lesbians too, and I'm like, what's up?
You're like, y'all are iconic.
No, I literally say that to them, and I'm like, okay.
They're like, whatever. That's funny. So it's not really like so like living in Florida isn't really like it's not like a big like culture shock being like a gay person in Florida or anything like that.
No, I would say it's very regular. Like, there's a lot of gay people around, but like it's not regular enough where you're still not a gay person walking around.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm in Texas, so I understand. Luckily, I'm in...
Well, I feel like Dallas... Where are you in Dallas?
So my family lives in the DFW area. I went to school in Austin, so now I'm here in Austin.
Okay, I feel like Austin, Dallas, very similar to what we have going on in Florida, because you get it, like, your state is very different than you. I mean, you're probably a little worse than we are, because also we just have, like, it's Florida. We have, like, the Florida man walking around as well. Like, everyone's kind of weird here, so it's more normal, but you have to have similar...
Totally.
I've been to Austin and Dallas. It's very similar.
Yeah, Austin is... I get what you're saying 100%. And it's like... The bigger cities, you definitely are going to see way more diverse people, more, out, lesbians, gays, however they identify. So yeah, I get that. Luckily, I'm in Austin, like I said, and it is like what you said as well. Everything, sorry, my dog is scratching himself. Gizmo, you can't do that right now, crazy. It's like what you said, like it's somewhat accepted here still because you're in a bigger city, so people don't really care. But there's still times when you're walking down the street and you can tell people are kind of like,
there's the gay person.
Exactly, and it's like, I'm not a freaking alien. Like,
ooh, here I am.
Yeah, I'm like, do I scare you? Yeah, it's crazy. I'm hoping that things start progressing.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I think we're getting there.
Hopefully. All right, so you said you went to a school in Memphis, but you also went to a law school. So you graduated from Stetson University College of Law?
Yes, I went to Rhodes College in Memphis, majored in math, don't ask why. And then I went to law school at Stetson.
Okay.
St. Pete.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so then I saw you quote on your Instagram that, quote unquote, you slayed the bar. So since you passed the bar, does that mean you're like officially like a lawyer?
Yeah, as of September, I think it was like the 7th, well, my birthday was the 17th, so it had been the 18th.
Oh my gosh.
The results came out, and I did pass, which was phenomenal, because if I had to study for that again, I would have...
I hear it's brutal.
It was, like, literally the most miserable thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like, I tell my friends all the time, like, we went to Pride last summer, and also I'm, like, the planner of the friend group, like, I get the little plans together, and I refused to do it last summer. Like, I was being such a bitch about it. And then they would plan something, and I would say I didn't like it. I was just in such a bad mood. And then I swear the entire day of Pride, I was, like, really trying to be in a good spirit, but I just didn't have it in me. And I was just like, I'm fine. The whole day. Nothing came out of me the whole day we were there.
You're like, I am so happy.
Yeah. I was like, no, guys, I'm having a great time. What do you mean?
That is so funny.
But yeah, then I passed. I am a public defender. So... And I love my job.
So what does that, and I kind of ask you about that later on as well, but like, I mean, public defenders, it's kind of like what it says, you're just defending someone, right?
Yeah, so I defend my clients.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this, so my questions might be stupid.
No, it's fine. I think I didn't know that much about it until I actually did it. My mom's actually a family law judge.
Gotcha.
And she's out of Tampa and I'm out of St. Pete, so we're not like in the same office, but she's family law anyways.
Yeah.
But when she was running, she said like her one regret was not working for the state in some capacity because she just felt like she didn't have that support group when she was end up running for basically anything.
Yeah.
And when she decided to become a judge, it got rid of the law firm that was supposed to be mine one day. So I had to figure out a new career path. So I tried both. I did like the clinic process through school at the prosecutor's office, like the state attorneys who put you in jail, and then I tried the public defender side, and I was like, okay, these people are way cooler. I'm not going to be the state. I'm not putting people in jail. I kind of knew that anyways. I was like, oh, I really don't like doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a little weed. I don't care. You know, and like, you really got to do it. Like, I wasn't going to be able to commit, and I'm good at my job.
Period.
So I was also scared that if I went and worked for the state, I would be too good, and I would be putting the innocent people away.
That is so funny.
I really didn't want to do that.
Well, you found your little path, so that's great.
Yeah. So when I first started, I did like misdemeanors, which is everything, you know, under a year in county jail, petty thefts, DUIs, and then I got moved up within like 30 days to felony, which like I got clients who have been in prison longer than I've been alive. Like, I go visit them in jail. I'm like, hey, what's up?
You're like, let's talk.
Are you gonna get me out of this? I'm like, I'm gonna try my best.
You're like, I'm trying.
I like it, though.
That's so funny.
I have this one guy, he's like, can you handle this? I'm like, I think.
You're like, I mean, I did just graduate, but guess what? Like, I'm gonna do everything I can.
I'm like, but I swear, I'm really good at this.
I bet you're better than like half of the people, so.
Well, I'm also really good at communicating, and like, that's a big thing that I think these people don't usually get, because like, we're really busy, but like, you know me, I'm gonna text anybody about anything.
Yeah.
I will keep you posted on your case. You don't have to worry, you're gonna know exactly what's going on.
That's so good. That is so good. Okay, so period. That's so cool. So I did some research on you, not like in a creepy way, but you know. And so the New York Times, like, what, dude? Like, they wrote a freaking article about you. That's so cool. So like, how did that come about? Like, how did they reach out to you? Like, how did that like process work?
I think I literally just got an email.
Oh.
And yeah, I think I got an email from this chick, and she was like, something about her feels a little suspicious now, but she was like, I have been following like all the Jojo Siwa stuff, and like I want to write this article, and I was like, all right, pop off, queen. And then I was like, sure. So we like had a phone call, I'm pretty sure, where I got asked a bunch of questions and answers, and then she found out I was in Tampa, and I guess like the New York Times has like different like photographers and stuff located around the area, so I was like in a convenient area where they could just send the photographer over to take some pictures. So I was like, oh, photo shoot, like we're getting into this now. So
is that the one?
My mom came and she was like, her peak.
Was that when you're in the pool?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what they used on the New York Times like article, and I was like, I wonder if they specifically did this photo shoot for like this article, or if they just like.
Oh no, we did. I bought a blow up tube. I came over. I literally have it framed behind me.
As you should.
Because I almost brought it to my office. I was like, I'm not going to.
You're like, I'm not going to be that extra.
But she was like, yeah, if you want to do something creative for your shot, and I was like, I think I should look like Taylor Swift, and you need to come down in the pool. That was my inspiration.
I love it. So, are you a Swiftie?
Oh yeah, I love Taylor.
That is so. I love Taylor. I love her. But I will admit, I'm not like I'm not a Swiftie where like when a new song comes out, I'm like immediately like, I need to listen to this. You know what I mean? But I love her music.
I feel like I'm like just too old to be doing that. You know, like I don't have the time. Like I've been listening to the new album probably for like a month straight but I still probably haven't listened to every song just because like, I haven't had time.
Isn't there like 31 or 32 songs on this new album?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really good though. I'm really enjoying it. I would say like I'm a Swiftie light.
Got you. I have a friend that I work with. She is like you think of like hardcore Swiftie, that's her. She's watching the lives on TikTok of like Taylor Swift performing in like a different country, and she's like, I want to be there, and I'm like, girl.
See, I'll like scroll, watch it for like, you know, a couple minutes, I'm like, cute, and then keep scrolling. Like, yeah. I can only do it.
I get it. All right, well, Oh wait, so I don't know if did we finish this thing? So you ended up doing the photo shoot, and then what?
And then we also had this like really bad hurricane when this was like all happening. So right after, I was like waiting forever for the article to come out, and I had nothing to do because we were just stuck inside because of this hurricane. And she kept not knowing when it was gonna like drop, because I guess it was based on space, and because I had photos, like she didn't want it to not go with the photos. So then one day she was like, okay, like it's up, and I was like, great. And then she was supposed to send me a copy, never did. Something else she did was weird. I can't remember, but I'm in New York. I was like, bro, can you please like go find a paper? Like, I don't even know how to do that. But, like, just go find paper and put it in the mail to me. It was my college roommate. She did.
Oh my gosh, that is so. You would think that the New York Times would be like on their shit.
I know. It
was
weird.
At least you still got a freaking article written about you. That's slay.
Yeah, it's my claim to fame for sure.
Yeah, that is so cool. Okay, so in the same New York Times article, it said that you were planning to be a prosecutor. Is a prosecutor the same thing as a public defendant?
No, so a prosecutor is the same thing as like a state attorney or like a district attorney. They're the ones who work for the state, and like we the state of Florida want to put this person in jail, you know.
And that's what you were saying, that you switched and you didn't want to do that.
Because I tried both, and so I know when I did that New York Times article, I was trying being a prosecutor, so obviously I was like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna be the state, and then I was like, no, I'm not.
You're like, never.
I was like, no, I would be so embarrassed.
Okay, so you were thinking about it, but then now you're a public defendant.
I'm the public defender.
Okay.
Defending. I say not guilty, you know?
Got you. Okay, sorry. I'm learning here. Okay, so...
Oh, when they're like, oh my gosh, when like someone gets arrested and they're like, do you need a lawyer appointed to you because you can't afford one? Like, that's me.
Oh, period.
I get appointed.
So is it only people in St. Petersburg that can have you as a lawyer? Or like, let's say me, I get into like some scuffle and I need someone. Could I be like, yo, girl, I need you, or no?
Yeah, so like in an actual, like, I could obviously answer your questions, but like, yeah, I work for the government of Pinellas County over in St. Pete, and then like I go to that courthouse, that's where my office is every day. Like, I work for the public defenders of Pinellas County, and so we have like 80% of all criminal defendants who come through Pinellas County because those people can't afford lawyers. I mean, who are the police pulling over, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't even get me started.
Oh, girl, yeah, I could have written so many questions about that.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm in Pinellas County now.
Okay.
But, you know, if I were to ever go out on my own and still do criminal defense work, it would be, you know, I could basically be anywhere in Florida. But it's state by state based on the bar.
Gotcha. Okay, so you plan to obviously continue to do that, I'm assuming. Do you continue or are you wanting to continue to do like your social media stuff?
Yeah, I don't know, honestly, because I got into it during like the end of college, COVID, and then being in law school. And law school is such like a taxing experience, and it's also very not 9 to 5. That it was nice when I was sitting at my desk for 4 days straight just reading a textbook to be like, oh my gosh, I should make this funny little TikTok right now. Like, it made a lot more sense then than I think it does now with my 9 to 5 job. Like, I was complaining to my girlfriend earlier. I was like, I've been meaning to make this like brand deal video for like a week, but I just like don't feel like it. You know, like I'm busy. I have a job.
Yeah. Well.
But I still, like, don't intend on giving it up. Like, in my head, I'm convinced that I'm gonna find a new direction to take that makes more sense, because I've said this, and as many times as I say it, people don't hear it, that, like, what Lesbtopia once was can never exist the same way again, primarily because the subjects know they're being watched. You know, they're either going to give you specific information to tailor it one way because they know you're watching, or they're going to give you no information because they know you're watching. So it's just never going to be as good as it once was. Like, yeah, still every once in a while we like get some stories here, get some stories there, but
it's not
it anymore.
Yeah. So for the listeners, can you explain like what Lesbtopia is?
Yeah. So every time I get this question, it's kind of, you know, one day I just made up the word for it.
Yeah.
And people will love to tell me that I didn't make that up. I'm like, Google it. It did not exist until I spoke it out of my mouth. I made up Listopia. Good luck trying to convince me otherwise. And no one has yet. So it all kind of started when I was talking about, you know, Jojo Siwa at first. And then, you know, I would say it expanded primarily based on her, you know, and other TikTokers. Like,
Okay.
I try not to center, like, big content. Like, I'll do a video here or there about a breakup or a get-together of, like, just influencers. But, like, in terms of talking about someone as, like, a series, I try not to do that unless they're, like, actually famous.
Yeah.
Especially because once my following got to a certain level, I was bigger than some of these people that people wanted me to talk about, and I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
that does not feel cool. Unless you're dating fucking Jojo Siwa.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself in there now.
Totally. Okay, so that kind of goes into... So wait, first of all, so Listopia is just, like, the online lesbian gossip.
Yeah, the online gossip of lesbian drama.
Period. That you
Centered
created.
around myself.
Yes. Okay, so, in the same New York Times article, we're going to be done with this article, I promise. It mentioned that you started gaining followers, obviously because you were posting very frequently. It was a good time, COVID, all that stuff. But they said that your full-on breakthrough was when people started to notice a resemblance between you and Jojo Siwa's, like, ex-girlfriend. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know which way this went, but Jojo posted a video. Did you duet it?
No. I posted a video. It was to that sound that was like, meet my mom and my dad and I'm so-and-so or whatever.
Yes.
And it was Jojo, girlfriend, and then I was like, and I'm the kid, because I feel like I looked kind of similar to the two of them.
Yeah.
All the comments ended up being like, oh my god, you look just like her girlfriend. And I'm like, we don't really, but I guess we kind of do. Like, I get it, but I also don't get it.
Yeah, there's some resemblance, but yeah.
Yeah, but, like, whatever.
Yeah.
2020 TikTok, you know, anything was gonna blow up. And then she duetted it, which, like, made me gain a lot of followers. So then, like, randomly that summer when, I think it was summer, whenever it was, and my one friend, we had, like, started becoming kind of obsessed with Jojo Siwa, just because, like, pop off queen, become a lesbian. It was awesome.
Yeah, period.
It was awesome. No, like, I will never change my opinion on that. Jojo Siwa becoming a lesbian was a really exciting time for everybody. And my one friend was like, they broke up. I was like, why do you think that? And she was like, because this bitch was posting stories of her every fucking day, and there hasn't been one in 3 days. I was like, you're absolutely correct. I was like, I'm gonna go tell the internet. And then I took off from there.
Okay, yeah, so that's iconic. But my question, like, to flow into that was, so you would say that was, like, your first breakthrough when people started to, like, notice you, or was there another breakthrough that kind of caused you to be in, like, the limelight of TikTok?
Yeah, I would say there's, like, a couple, you know, and, like, anytime you have a video go really viral, I mean, you gain a lot of followers, but obviously, you know, gaining 20,000 followers once you hit 500,000 is a lot different than getting the first 20,000.
Totally.
And I remember hitting 10,000, like, it was crazy. I was like, there's literally no way I have 10,000 followers. Like, everyone thought it was crazy.
And now you're at 5.
Crazy.
Yeah, now you're like 500,000. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't remember, like, as much the in the middle chunks when things blew up, but it was, you know, just basically majority of it is definitely around JoJo.
Yeah.
I would say there's definitely other, like, lesbian cycles that people really like to follow.
Yeah.
But, you know, JoJo, and then pulling in Avery's fan base too, because she already had such a big one on the side, was really huge. But I would say, yeah, when JoJo duetted me in the first place, it kind of got my start. And then I think it was nice because when I started talking about lesbian drama or lesbians in general, a lot of those people who followed me because of JoJo already fit that category. So it worked out.
Period. Exactly. Okay, so what would you say, like, looking back, I know you said, like, you don't really remember, like, you growing your, I mean, I bet you remember growing your audience, but you don't really like remember like the specific growth of it. But my point is, what would you say, like, if looking back, what was your like top 2 biggest moments on TikTok? Obviously probably that Jojo one.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you have a lot. I feel like you have a lot of iconic TikToks. So what do you think like your top 2 are?
I know, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely, I think my largest TikTok besides, okay, well, take a step back. This is also really crazy. The first TikTok that I had to actually do really well, that hit like 1 million likes, has like nothing to do with lesbian drama. And was just this weird video that I made of my girlfriend's like phone. She'd like crack the screen and she like put her background as like a Star Wars lightsaber, so it like looks like it. And that video got me a lot of followers just because I was like a woman saying girlfriend phone, and it just blew up because of the Star Wars thing. I got a lot of followers from them being like, oh, lesbians, you know? Not that got me super far, but that was like, I think that's still like my most liked video. Like it did really, really, really well. This random ass video from the very beginning.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah. And I definitely think my second big moment was the December when Jojo and Avery like got together and then broke up. Like that got a lot of traction, and I was actually on this like big family trip in like fucking Egypt with, I know, it was like my grandpa's like, he was like, last trip of my life, I want to go to Egypt. Like it was a whole big thing, and I'm like in the middle of the pyramids, like, oh my god, guys, hold on, I have to tell this story about Jojo and Avery. It also made the video so much funnier because they were like, is there a pyramid behind you?
They're like, wait. You're like, I am actually.
You go back and look at them, you're gonna be like, wait, the bitch was in Egypt.
I have to go back and look at that, because now that I know the background of this story, that's honestly iconic though. You're like, pyramids, beautiful, but give me a second.
I'd seen a lot of pyramids, I was over it.
You're like, it's a beautiful pyramid, but I'm over it. This drama's better. That is so funny. Okay, well that's random as hell, but
yeah.
Period.
I also, like, a lot of people are, like, I can't even take credit for finding most of the breakups or get-togethers. Like, people DM me. Like, people give me the tea.
Okay.
And it's usually, like, you know, teenage girls who are, like, you have their notifications on for everything Avery Cyrus ever does.
And they're just,
I
like...
know Avery, so she's different, but, like, you know, the other ones.
No, yeah, they're just, like, tracking them. Like, they're tracking their every move.
Yeah, no, usually right. Like, they're always so right. I'm like, oh my god, girl, you're so right.
You're like,
and then they're excited because they want community to be talking about it. So they like when I post about it because then they get to go in the comments and talk to other people about it.
Totally.
And I would say a lot of the times too, and you know, there have been periods of my content that I'm like, that was probably a little too far. Like, I didn't need to, you know, psychoanalyze someone that aggressively, but I did. Whatever. But you know, when I don't feel like clear about a situation and I don't want to put myself in that position, I'll try to just say as little as possible. Like my TikTok about Sedona and
we're gonna get it
breaking up was kind of just like, oh, I don't know, I want to know what happened. I didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
But the comments, all I do, a lot of the times what I do is give people a comment section.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's definitely like they feel like it's like a sense of like a community type thing, you know? Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why a lot of people follow you as well, because they can go into the comments and talk with like-minded people, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so although you are known on TikTok for exposing, you know, juicy lesbian gossip, you are also like an advocate for the LGBTQ community. So where do you see your content like going and your advocacy going like in the future?
I mean, I feel like that's the big question for myself too, you know? And I think for a lot of time too, I was like just chasing the goal of ending up becoming a lawyer, and like I am. Cheers.
Period.
So, I don't know, I'm still young. I mean, I don't feel that young compared to some people on TikTok. I'm 26. I'm kind of just taking my content day by day. You know, I'm eventually hoping that some sort of opportunity comes my way. Like, when I was younger, my, like, big life goal was to be the mayor of Tampa. I don't know if that's still a set life goal of mine, but, you know, just because I don't see myself going necessarily into politics like that, But, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that I can do between having a law degree and just having a platform that can go some sort of way. And I think we'll just see. I mean, right now, I just am focused on my job because it's really overwhelming being a new lawyer and having these people's lives in my hands.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Every time I sit there and wait for the verdict, I'm like, I'm going to die right this second. I'm going to actually die.
Oh my God, I bet. That's so scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And even when I watch it on TV, like I'm watching, have you seen the HBO The Jinx?
No.
Oh my God, HBO The Jinx, recommend. It's this story of this guy who basically got away with murder and then basically confessed on the documentary. So the second season is then like retrying him because he confessed in the first documentary, but then the documentary is also filming the second season. It's wild. But I was like watching the verdict on there and I was like, I'm anxious. I'm anxious. Not even me.
That's so funny. No, because on HBO it says part 2 on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but I've like seen it visually, like on like the recommended, and I'm like, this looks really cool, but I haven't. But I find that stuff.
Go watch part 1. You gotta watch part 1.
Okay.
And I watched part 1 like when it came out in like 2016. Like I don't know why, I just did.
You were on it.
And then all of a sudden I saw part 2. I'm like, what the? No way. No way.
That's crazy.
But, okay, we were talking about my TikTok.
Yeah, sorry.
And we got a sidetrack.
Tends to happen.
I would say that I'm trying, like, sometimes I'm just trying to post when I want to, and when it feels, like, relevant to me. Like, sometimes I am bored, and I also enjoy the comment sections.
Yeah.
Like, it's as much for my followers to be able to talk about a topic as it is for me to also be able to talk about it. Like, I like it, too.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reason I started making TikToks was because I didn't see the TikToks that I wanted to be seeing. You know, I'm like, I want to talk about this drama. Like, I guess I'll just be the one to do it. And even now, when I text my friends some stuff, I'm like, oh my God, like, have you thought about this? They're like, just post about it on TikTok, because obviously if I have and you have and we haven't seen it on TikTok, like,
yeah,
we got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. All right, cool. Period. That's awesome. All right, so now we're going to jump into some tea.
Right.
Just FYI, the podcast, not the video, but the podcast only goes to an hour. We're at 36 right now, so I'll let you know if we're getting close.
Okay.
Okay. So, speaking of like breakthroughs and big moments and all that stuff with you, whenever you started to become friends with like Avery Cyrus, Chriselle, are you friends with G Flip, or are you just like friends with Chriselle?
I would say, like, I'm just, like, social media friends with Chriselle. Not much past social media.
Got you.
She's older, too.
Well, I got you. That's still iconic, though. But when you started to realize that, like, becoming friends with, like, bigger named people, like, wasn't out of reach, like, how did that make you feel?
Definitely cool. Also, like, Chriselle was a big one because a bunch of, like, straight people think she's so cool because they watch Selling Sunset. Like, the amount of, like, straight chicks at law school that came up to me and they were like, oh my God, you met Chriselle? And I'm like, I did.
You're like, I'm the coolest.
I know, I'm like, haha. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like I have a lot. I would say that, you know, because I've, like, talked to Fletcher, like, and I mean, like, briefly spoken to her via social media, you know, and that's how it is with most people, like Chelsea Cutler, etc. I feel like I have access to famous people, but I don't necessarily feel like on the same level of, like, friends with them. Also, famous people are weird. Like, there's just no other way. Like, every time I talk to one of them, I'm like, okay.
Like, what do you mean? Like, are they just, like, do they give you, like, a weird vibe or what?
Yeah, I just feel like they're famous people still. Like, they don't seem normal. Like, Chriselle, very normal. But she's also not, like, she can still go to the grocery store. You
really?
know, like, not everyone's gonna I think so. I think Chriselle could, like, go to the grocery store.
Maybe it's just because, like, I was, like, obsessed with Selling Sunset. And then I also, obviously, started to love it more because she came out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I guess the thought of thinking of Chriselle going to the, like, grocery store is, like, normal. I'm like, I don't know, to me I'm like, there's no way, but I don't know,
like, she wouldn't get mobbed.
Yeah, that's true.
I might be like, hey girl, and she's like, hey, but like Kim Kardashian in the grocery store is like crazy.
But like Jojo Siwa's going to like Disney World and stuff, wouldn't you think she would be getting, like, a bunch of, like...
She's so niche still. Like, she thinks she's famous, but she's, like, so niche.
Okay, we're gonna get into that.
Niche.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, but, like, other people, I feel like they feel, like, super famous. Like, I know when I went to go see Fletcher, and I was like, oh, like, are you gonna, like, do you, like, go out after? She was like, have to catch my bus, like, to my next tour. Like, oh, blah, blah. I was like, okay, never mind.
You're like, all right, girl, I was just asking.
I just didn't know if you had fun.
Like, I was just trying to make a conversation.
Yeah, and, like, if I'm ever, like, talking to a famous person, like, trying to coordinate, like, getting their tickets, they're, like, so formal about it. They're like, I will have my manager send you an email, and I'm like, okay.
You're like, all right, girl.
Excited for the show, and they're never like, thanks. They just still send the message about the tickets. Like, it's so formal. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I get that. So you would say you have access to people, but it's not like your buddies with, like, super big names, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and also a lot of the time my beginning access to these people, like, minus Chriselle, because she just, like, messaged me on Instagram to tell me how funny she thought my TikToks were about her and G Flip. Like, that's why Chriselle messaged me in the first place. But then, like, other people typically follow me and message me to tell me to take some of my content down, or, like, tell me some sort of the tea that they want filtered in.
Gotcha.
Like, that's a lot of the, like, any famous person on TikTok or, like, famous influencer that follows me back, again, besides Avery and Chriselle, specifically did to tell me something about my content that they didn't like, or that they wanted me to take down. And, like, my response is usually the same, like, girl, you put it on the internet first.
Yeah, it's
Come
like...
try me.
It's like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
All right.
It's also just so serious to them. Like,
yeah.
Guys, the internet is not that serious. And, like, even when I go to work, and I had, like, this guy at work who's, like, starting, like, a man TikTok, like, a day in the life, and he's, like, he calls me one day. It's a state attorney. He calls me, and he's like, I'm, like, really excited because I had sent him a couple emails about clients. I thought he was going to get back to me. No, he calls me, and he's like, I saw you on TikTok. And I'm like, okay. So? He's like, I'm starting TikTok. I was like, oh, okay. Like, do you want advice or something? Like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
And he was like, do you ever just, like, feel vulnerable that, like, people at work can see you? And I said, you know what? I never do, except for when a state attorney picks up the phone at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day and calls me to tell me about my TikTok. And he was, like, dying. And I was like, but seriously, though, it's just, like, so not real. Like, I literally had a judge one time say they saw my TikTok. I'm like, that seems like a you problem. Why are you having lesbian shit on your For You page?
Yeah, it's like, I'm onto you.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
And it's like...
shit.
And it's like, if someone is on social media and they start getting a big following, it's like if you don't want other people to know that you're on social media, like, don't be on social media. You know, like, if you don't want people to see your stuff, don't be on social media. Like,
it's like 0 or 100. You can't do it, you know, not.
Exactly.
But also, everything on social media is, like, so fleeting. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe that TikTok was a little embarrassing. Like, do I really care? No. But you know when sometimes, like, you get yourself embarrassed about something? I'm still like, whatever. In 3 days, no one's going to be thinking about it.
It's not going to matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally...
Even Jojo Siwa embarrassing herself, like, people get over it in, like, a week.
Jojo, sweet Jojo. Okay.
All day my girlfriend's been going, dream guest of my podcast? Because they said I was coming on your podcast.
Dream guest of my podcast? That was literally... Oh my god. Jojo is like... She's iconic. Alright, so let's jump into Jojo. Alright, so we have to touch on this topic because it's literally like... Obviously, it's like what is happening on social media right now. So how do you feel about, like, Jojo, like, transitioning from being, like, this good girl to, like, this so-called bad girl? And, like, what do you think her outcome is? Like, what is she wanting this outcome to be? Like, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is she trying to achieve?
I wish, more than anything, that she would have just emailed me or something and been like, how would you have done it? Because I have so much good advice for her compared to what she's actually doing. And I think her big issue is that she thinks she knows what to do. And it's like, girl, you talk all the time about how you never went to high school. Like, you never got to go to play high school sports and all this stuff. So why haven't you realized that you don't know what people like us want from you?
Exactly.
Like, she's giving what Jojo thinks people want. And, you know, obviously being so over dramatic and like so extra works when you're a children's star. Like, anyone can entertain children, no offense. You just buy glitter and colorful things and yell. Like, it's really easy. But, you know, she's trying to be cool and relatable to older people and people who have gone through things that she's never experienced. Like, she's lived a really weird life. And even from, like, getting to know Avery so much and being able to hear, like, what JoJo's like and how JoJo grew up in JoJo's world, like, it's just so different than anything that I think any of us can even imagine. Even, did you watch, like, the Dance Moms reunion? Okay, so it was really interesting seeing, like, the other girls.
Is that when, sorry to interrupt you, but was that when all of them were sitting together? Like,
yeah, I'm sure you watched the clips on TikTok.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah.
But you can just tell, because all, like, most of the other girls, like, went to college. They, like, went back to normal life. And they're looking at JoJo like, girl, like, you good?
No.
Like, are you okay? And it's like, no, she's probably not.
I'm
worried. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, it's not that bad. Like I said, like, everyone will forget about it, but I still don't think she realizes what she's doing is, like, crazy. And, like, people will say about her, like, her friends will go on podcasts and stuff, and they're like, oh, well, she's doing what she wants. Like, she's getting eyeballs, she's getting this. And, like, that is so unbelievably temporary. Like, even when she was saying, like, oh, my song Karma, like, hit 1 million views overnight, I'm like, listen, girl, I'll try to love you, but that song's not even getting added to my fucking playlist. Like, I'm not even clicking add on Apple Music. I've never listened to it in the car a single time ever. And I like shitty music. Like, there's nothing stopping me.
You're like, your views are from people watching it and judging you. Like,
yeah.
I was trying to say that the nicest.
Like, how long you can only listen to, like, Freaky Friday? No, Friday by Rebecca Black so many times.
Oh my gosh, that's still kind of iconic though.
No, that one is iconic.
Yeah.
But it already has been.
Yeah. This, I feel like Karma's a bit. Is that what it's called? Karma's a bitch. Is that her song?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. We're like, what even is it named? I feel like it's always gonna be like an iconic, like, moment, but I feel like it is gonna be one of those songs that will always be kind of like it's done, you know, like, it had its moment, it's done. Girl, you got a lot of views, but why did you get a lot of views, you know? Like,
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, well, she's something else. All right.
Yeah.
So more of a JoJo. So JoJo went on Call Her Daddy. And she...
That hideous hat.
Oh my god. That hat. And, what's her name? What's the Call Her Daddy? Alex. She was so funny when interviewing JoJo, because you could tell she was trying so hard not to, like, make fun of her. And, like,
yeah. But
also she was trying to, like, understand and hear where she was coming from. But anyways, her hat was literally so funny. So JoJo was on Call Her Daddy, and she said that her most recent breakup... Am I allowed to name drop?
Yeah.
Okay. Her most recent breakup, which was Avery. JoJo is saying it ended badly and continued to say that Avery, like, clout chased and it was just, like, this big thing. Do you think that's true, or do you think, like, Avery was actually, like, invested and, like, enjoyed being with JoJo?
I think that Avery thought at the time she enjoyed being with JoJo, but I definitely think it was, like, a mentally and emotionally rebound relationship for Avery, which it also kind of was for JoJo. I mean, she had left Kai, who was, like, the first love of her life. Avery and Soph, I think Avery might have had a girlfriend before, but, like, really Soph was Avery's, like, first big relationship. So I think her and JoJo were in similar places when they got together. Like, they were very young too. Like, I think we all forget, like, you know, you date a lot of different people at 18 years old than you do at 22. But, you know, Avery was, like, devastated after the breakup for, like, a long time. Like, she would come to my house and we would, like, talk about it, and she would get upset and we would have to not laugh. We're like, Avery, about JoJo? Like, girl, girl.
You're like, she still wears glitter.
So upset. Like, she would actually be so upset. And I'm like, okay, there's no, like, I don't know her like that. Why would she be coming to my house and fake get upset about, there's no way, you know? Like, it was genuine. She was actually upset. And we're like, oh, girl, it's going to be okay.
But deep down, you're like, you'll be fine.
Yeah, like, it's going to be okay. And then Jojo, like, definitely just dumped Avery out of nowhere. Like, we think to get back together with Kai, but, like, we don't really know. So when Jojo says all this, like, weird stuff about the breakup and, like, Avery doing something, like, I've, like, literally looked Avery dead in the eye and been like, do you know what it is? Like, tell me what you did. Like, I just need to know. And she's like, I really do not know. And I do know that when Jojo started becoming, like, really kind of aggressive about Avery online and, like, calling her a clout chaser and all these things, I do know that some of Avery's fans, just like some of Jojo's fans, were, like, sending very hateful messages either way. So I'm like, for all we know, like, one of Avery's fangirls, you know, sent Jojo something, like, don't, like, stop talking shit about Avery or X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And, like, that's what JoJo's calling this whole big scandal. But, like, you're always alluding to it being about Avery. Also, like, are you done talking about your ex's, girl? Like, come on.
Oh my god. No, like, literally, that, I know. It's like that interview that she had where it's like, the guest on her podcast. It's like, why did she have to say, like, oh, my ex, let's spice things up, or whatever she said?
It's because as much as JoJo was responsible for my career, like, I don't think that she'll probably doubt it, but she can't. Like, I formed her as a lesbian. Like, she has the fame of being a lesbian because people are into her drama. That's, like, also no longer going on anymore. It's, like, not as exciting. So she's, like, losing that following. But, like, how many times did dream guests in my podcast get thrown around TikTok because she's talking about her drama? Because that's what every lesbian liked her for.
Period. Exactly. Yeah, I remember on the call, I think it was the caller daddy, she said something about, like, she's like, I don't know how, and she didn't drop Avery's name, but obviously it's obvious because it was, like, her most previous breakup. But she was like,
she said, like, my influencer ex.
Okay, well, but she said something like after, like, I realized, like, why this girl can't keep a relationship, or she said something about how Avery did something so bad, and she's like, I can't even say it on the podcast. Like, it was worded differently.
Avery doesn't know what it is, so I can't find it out.
That is so crazy. Okay, we're at 52 minutes, so I'm going to ask you, let's just touch on the Sedona drama. Do you know anything?
I do.
Okay.
And I do know, I think that, you know, the first time she had the breakup with Riley, it was again, they were young. I think we always forget how young people are, and, like, it's hard not to put your breakup on the internet when you're scared people are going to take sides one way or another. I do know in this situation that people are being very dramatic about what they think happened. I mean, I've talked to both of them. I've talked to third parties who are neither of them, and, like, they're very okay with each other. Like, everything's okay. I wouldn't even be surprised if they get back together. I think they're each personally just going through some stuff. I mean, again, they're young. Like, Liv just graduated. Sedona is doing her last year, and then she's also got all this, like, sports stuff going on. So, you know, sometimes things just become a lot, and, like, people have, like, you know, mental struggles, and sometimes having to care for another person doesn't work out in that instant. But I've talked to both of them. They're both, like, not in a great place because it's hitting them both so hard. But, you know, neither one has anything bad to say about the other one. Okay. I think they just each might be needed some growing to do on their own, but no one did anything wrong in this situation. So every time I see the TikToks, like, I can't believe Sedona, like, hurt another girl, like, they're literally fine.
Yeah, because, like, obviously when Sedona was with Riley, like, it came out that, like, Sedona cheated, and then Riley forgave her, and then Sedona found out that, like, Riley then was cheating on Sedona, and it was, like, this big thing, and then now people are saying that, like, and of course social media is going to come up with their assumptions, but it's like, Sedona cheated on Liv. But the thing that makes me question, like, if they're telling you, like, you know, nothing bad happened, I deep dived into the Sedona and Riley situation, And from the jump, they both denied that there was any cheating. But then it eventually came out later on that there was. So do you think right now they may be, like, trying to keep things on the low? Or do you, like, straight up really believe that they are just really trying to, like, they're just giving each other, like, time to grow without one another? Your mic sounds like a robot.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, you're good.
Okay, good. I do know that in the Sedona Riley situation, like, they had gotten together at first and decided to, like, tell everyone that nothing happened, but, like, that obviously doesn't last, like, when there is cheating involved.
Yeah.
Versus this situation, again, like, Liv is just so genuine, and I've never also had an experience with Sedona where I've seen her not be honest and genuine to me. Like, even when they were telling everyone there was no cheating, I knew there was, you know, just because I had spoken to them.
Yeah.
But with these two, like, I don't know. They seem very genuine, especially Liv. Like, I really think at some point she would have just told me if it was something different. But even when you look at her comments, she's like, please stop hating on Sedona. She's not saying much. You know, she's not saying, like, oh, you know, everything's great, X, Y, and Z. And I'm not even saying it is because, like, I don't know if they're talking. Like, I don't know how far it is. But I just know in terms of their breakup that, like, they really do, you know, both still express love for each other. And I also haven't really even talked to either of them in the context that they know I'm talking to either one, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're using me to pass messages along.
Yeah.
Like, I've just reached out to both of them, like, hope you're good, girl, you know?
Totally.
And in my conversations with both of them, like, they have had nothing but nice things to say about the other one. So, and it seems very genuine. I mean, I guess I don't really know at the end of the day, but I'd be surprised if it was anything different.
Gotcha. All right. It's just Liv, she seems so sad on TikToks. Like, all of her posts are so sad. And of course, like, the people online are like, oh my God, like, what happened? You know, of course they're thinking Sedona did something crazy because Liv is, like, crying, which, as she should, she's sad. But, you know. Yeah. All right, so.
I don't think Liv just being, like, a hopeless romantic, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like, she just is rainbows and sunshine and butterflies. So when the relationship was not that, like, she's gonna be a crier, you know? We're all criers.
Totally. All right. Dang. So I have one more question. We have to make this question very, very quick. Okay. Actually, I have two. All right. So Avery and Soph, they're broken up. They've been seen together at Futch or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And Soph has been posting like Avery had a birthday. She posted a picture of Soph posted a picture of Avery saying, like, happy birthday. Do you think they're just, like, friends? Or do you think, like, there could be something there?
I definitely know at this point they're friends. Avery's made comments, and I've seen it on other TikToks, like, besides me actually knowing this. Like, I've seen her, like, publicly talk about it. How she's with that girl that she took to Iceland that one time still.
Yes.
Because she kind of just moved right by her out in California. You know, Avery's not in LA. Like, her and Soph are, like, hours and hours apart.
Oh, okay.
She's in one of the Sands. I don't know.
Like
San Diego, San Francisco. I think it's San Francisco, but I don't think that's close to LA.
San Francisco, no. That's, like, super up north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they have the same management. I mean, I know that ever since Soph and Anna broke up that they've been just way friendlier because obviously it's not cool to talk when you have a new girlfriend.
Totally.
But, you know, after it's fine. So I know they definitely, like, they kind of grew up together. They started their internet journey together, so they're friends. And I don't know if they'll ever, I mean, they both, well, I don't really talk to Soph, but Avery will say it's never, ever going to happen. But I don't know. I know it isn't right now, and I don't think so, but...
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I think they're pretty different right now. And again, I don't know Soph that well, but, like, they just seem like they're very different, like, in different spots of their lives. So, like, maybe it's possible it comes back around, but who knows?
Totally. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna close out this podcast. I want to say thank you so much for coming on. I could have talked to you for so much longer. The app that it's podcast or Spotify for podcasters. It only gives me like 60 minutes. It's so freaking annoying.
Do you pay for it?
I don't pay for it. So are there other? I mean, I know there's other things that I can do, different podcast like platforms. But which one do you recommend?
I used to do Buzzsprout.
Okay.
And
I've
it
heard
would
about that.
send it to like all, and I kind of looked into which one was the best. I did Buzzsprout, and I think I ended up paying, like, it was not expensive at all. I did like the lowest membership.
Okay.
And I think I would get like up to 4 hours a month or something.
Wait, 4 hours a month?
Yeah, like you can upload up to 4 hours of content.
Gotcha.
Content a month.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But it could have been more. I don't know. It was good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. I'm just gonna end this, but I want to talk to you more just for a second. But
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on. I know you're busy with all of your law stuff, so I really appreciate it. So thank you. And for everyone that's listening, thank you so much for listening. I post every Monday, so just check it out. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.